Well, hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, and I want to welcome you to my channel called Mr. Pearson Talks Books. And in this video, we're going to go through the BookTube Newbie Tag. I'm not going to go through all of the questions, but I did write down some of them, so we're going to go through those. Question 1 is, why did you start this channel? And the reason that I started this channel is because I read a lot of middle grade books. It's just a genre that I really enjoy, primarily because I'm a third grade teacher and I'm always looking for books that I want my students to read. So I'm starting this channel because I want to be able to connect other teachers and librarians and even parents and maybe some students with good books. Question 2 says, what are some fun or unique things that you bring to BookTube? Well, like I just mentioned, I am a third grade teacher. I've been a third grade teacher for most of my teaching career, which is going on over 20 years at this point. So I have a good perspective of what children like to read. I have a good perspective of what is age appropriate. I'm also a dad. I'm a dad of 5 kids. And so I am constantly, like I said, constantly looking for books that I would want my own children to read, not just my kids in my classroom, but also the kids that I have at home. So I am constantly reading books, and I think that I bring to this channel that perspective to help people to make good decisions in regards to the books that they are giving to their kids. Number 3, what are you most excited about? I am most excited about potentially connecting with other educators, with other school librarians, with other parents and adults to help kids connect with reading. Obviously, the reason that people get on BookTube, the reason that people make videos like this is because we're excited about books and we want to connect people with the books that we like. So what I'm excited about is the potential of connecting people with the books that I've enjoyed in the hopes that it will create in them and in their children a love of reading that continues on forever. Number 4, why do I love reading? It's really hard to put an answer to that. Why do I love reading? I love reading because I like connecting with the stories. I enjoy meeting new characters. Obviously, as a teacher, I enjoy reading because I like to share those stories with my students. So there's lots of different reasons to love reading. Number 5, it says, what are some books or series that got you into reading? And for me, there's a couple of different ones. First, I absolutely loved the Chronicles of Narnia growing up. I read them many, many times. I remember having a white cardboard box that all of my white paperbacks went into. I think I even may still have some of those paperbacks around somewhere. They are falling apart at this point. The Little House on the Prairie books, I remember reading those over and over again. But the one series that, as I was thinking about this question, and it's hard to find, you can find them in used books if you go to like thriftbooks.com, is something called the McGurk Mysteries. And it was about this group of kids who had a clubhouse and they would solve mysteries around the neighborhood. They had their own little detective agency. They were a lot of fun. One of these days, I may pick up a copy of them off of Thrift Books. Can't find them at the library. They're that old. But that was a series that really got me into reading. What are some challenges? That's question number 6. What are some challenges? Being a teacher, having 5 children, having a significant commute, I think one of the challenges that I'm going to have is not being able to read the books, but being able to make videos to post here on this channel. So that I think will be the hardest challenges because in addition to having a full-time teaching job, and if you're a teacher, if you're watching this and you're a teacher, you know being a teacher takes a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into that. Having time to read and then make a video might be a little bit difficult. Number 7, when did you start reading? For me, I remember beginning to read in kindergarten. In fact, I remember the very first sentence that I ever read was in a little book, a little paper book, and that sentence was, The Pig Sat in the Mud. I remember reading that and being so excited. And I also remember, I remember in second grade getting Scholastic book flyers to bring home and all of the books that we would get from there. Amelia Bedelia, and reading The Door Was Ajar and how she took the door off and turned it into a jar. But I also remember my dad, he would take us to the library. He wasn't a big reader when I was growing up. He became a reader later in his life, but I remember those trips to the library with my dad. Another thing that got me into reading was the bookmobile. We had a bookmobile that would come to our neighborhood every other Thursday, and it would park over by the swimming pool. And so I would rush home from school. I would try to beat my friend Neil. I would try to beat him to the bookmobile because we were reading the same series at that point. In fact, at that point, it was the Babysitter's Club. Seems a little strange for boys to be reading the Babysitter's Club, but we were reading the Babysitter's Club books, and we would try to beat each other to the bookmobile to check out the next book in the series. Question is, where do you read? Well, there's lots of different places that I read. I have a chair here in the office where I'm recording this that I like to sit in. I read on my Kindle. I read physical books. Sometimes, I have to admit this, I will check out the physical book from the library, and then using the Libby app, I will check out the Kindle book so that when I'm traveling, I can continue to read that book if I can't take the physical book with me. But other places I like to read at lunch in my classroom while the kids are eating in the cafeteria. I like to sit quietly, just relax and read my book there. And during the summer, I like to take, I have a smaller Kindle, like a small Kindle Paperwhite, and I like to use that and walk laps around my neighborhood to get some exercise in, and I read books that way as well. So lots of different places I like to read. And then finally, the last question here is, what kinds of books do you like to read? For me, primarily, as I mentioned at the beginning, I like to read middle grade books, primarily middle grade fantasy books. I mentioned that I really like the Chronicles of Narnia, but I also enjoy Harry Potter. I just read Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow, and I read the entire series of Amari and the Night Brothers. Lots of middle grade fantasy. But in addition to that, I like to read Star Wars novels. I'm working my way through the Star Wars canon novels and the Star Wars Legends novels. We may talk more on that as we go on. I like to read adult fantasy. And from time to time, I will read adult nonfiction as well. So anyway, I think that is all of the questions for the BookTube Newbie Tag. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this. If you liked it, and primarily if you are a teacher or an educator, a school librarian, or even a parent, and you want to talk about middle grade books, primarily middle grade fantasy, or you're looking for books for your children or your students to read, please consider giving my channel, as I build it up, consider giving my channel a like and subscribe so that you'll have notifications whenever I post new videos. Again, my name is Jonathan. This channel is Mr. Pearson Talks Books, and we will see you next time.